Welcome back to the channel, fellow coin enthusiasts. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating series in U.S. coinage history, wheat pennies. From 1909 to 1958, these pennies have intrigued collectors for decades. But did you know that some of these humble cents can fetch thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's right, and today we're counting down the top 20 ultra-rare wheat pennies that could be sitting in your pocket change. Stay tuned for values, mintages, and the incredible stories behind these rare finds. 1957 wheat penny. The 1957 penny, which we're focusing on today, is from the last few years of wheat penny production. By 1959, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalk design with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Now let's talk about mint marks. For 1957, there are two major varieties: the 1957 without a mint mark, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the 1957D, struck at the Denver Mint. The mint mark is easy to spot. It's located right below the date on the obverse side of the coin. If your 1957 penny doesn't have a D, it was minted in Philadelphia. But if you see a small D, that means it was produced in Denver. In terms of production, there were over 282 million 1957 pennies minted in Philadelphia and a staggering 1.05 billion minted in Denver. This was a high mintage year, which means the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny is quite common, especially in circulated condition. Now, let's get to what you're all waiting for. How much is your 1957 Lincoln wheat penny worth? The value of this coin depends heavily on its condition or grade. Here's a breakdown: circulated condition G4 VF20. Most 1957 pennies found in circulation are worth between 3 to 10 cents. Because they were minted in such high numbers, there's not much premium unless you have an uncirculated or high-grade examples in uncirculated condition, where the penny shows no signs of wear. Values can range from $1 coins in exceptional. High-end grades like MS67 or higher can be worth anywhere from $20 to $50 or more, especially if certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. The highest recorded auction price for a 1957 D penny in MS67 red grade was $2,640. While this is extremely rare, it's a good reminder that finding a high-grade penny can be very rewarding. While 1957 wheat pennies are common, there are some error coins that can increase their value significantly. Some of the key errors to look for include double die obverse vedio. Check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, or the word Liberty. A good double die penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to $200 or more, depending on the severity of the doubling. Off-center strike. If your coin was struck off-center, that's another valuable error. Depending on how much of the design is off-center, these can fetch $10 to $50. Repunched mint marks RPM. Look for multiple impressions of the D mint mark on 1957 D pennies. Repunched mint marks can sell for $10 to $100 depending on the clarity and severity of the error. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned collector, here are some tips to help you find the best value in your 1957 wheat pennies. Look for uncirculated coins. Since 1957 wheat pennies are common, prioritize finding uncirculated examples in high grades. These are more valuable and harder to come by. Check for errors. Always examine your pennies closely under magnification for any potential errors like double dies or repunched mint marks. Get your coins graded. If you believe you have a high-grade penny or a valuable error, it might be worth sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. 1945 wheat penny. 1945 was an important year for the United States. The country was emerging from the horrors of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was churning out coins as part of the nation's recovery efforts. The 1945 penny was an everyday part of people's lives, used to buy bread, milk, and other essentials in a world that was quickly changing. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is the same classic design created by Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing abundance and growth, a fitting symbol for the time. Now, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities at 3 different mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D mint mark, San Francisco S mint mark, Philadelphia mint 1,040,515,000 minted, Denver mint 266,268,000 minted, San Francisco mint 181,770,000 minted. As you can see, over 1 billion pennies were produced in 1945 at the Philadelphia Mint alone, making it one of the most common wheat pennies. However, the Denver and San Francisco Mint pennies are slightly scarcer, particularly in higher grades, material composition, and metal shortages. One of the interesting things about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is its material composition. Like most pennies before and after, it was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. During World War II, however, copper was needed for the war effort, which is why 1943 pennies were made from steel. By 1945, the U.S. had returned to using copper for pennies. The return to copper signaled that America was beginning to recover from the material shortages of the war. So holding a 1945 penny is like holding a small piece of history from that era. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition or grade, of a coin is one of the most important factors that determine its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with uncirculated coins being the most valuable. For example, a heavily circulated 1945 penny might only be worth its face value, while an uncirculated, well-preserved penny can fetch $5 to $10, sometimes more. The key is to look at the coin's luster, the sharpness of the details, and the amount of wear. So how much is a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny worth today? Let's break it down. A Philadelphia minted penny in average circulated condition is usually worth about 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can go for $1 to $5. A Denver minted 1945 penny in circulated condition is worth 5 to 15 cents, and uncirculated examples can reach $5 to $10 or more. The San Francisco minted 1945 penny, being slightly less common, might be valued at 10 to 20 cents in circulated condition and $5 to $15 in uncirculated condition. 1947 wheat penny. The 1947 Lincoln wheat penny comes from the post-World War II era, when coin production returned to normal after the war. These coins were struck in large numbers, making them a common find in collections today. Now, let's talk about the different versions of the 1947 penny. There are 3 main varieties based on where the penny was minted. The 1947 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The ones with a D or an S were minted in Denver and San Francisco, respectively. If your 1947 penny doesn't have a mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. If you see a D, it's from Denver, and an S means it was minted in San Francisco. The U.S. Mint produced a significant number of 1947 wheat pennies. Here's a quick look at the mintage figures. 1947 Philadelphia, 190,555,000. 1947 D Denver, 194,750,000. 1947 S San Francisco, 99 million. With over 484 million pennies minted in 1947 across all mints, it's safe to say this coin is relatively common, especially in circulated condition. Now let's talk about the metal composition. Like other pennies of the era, the 1947 wheat penny is made up of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Given its high copper content, its melt value is worth more than 1 cent, though it's illegal to melt down U.S. coins for their metal content. Now let's get to the most important part, the value of the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny. As with most coins, the value depends largely on the condition or grade of the coin. Let's break it down by different conditions. Circulated condition G4VF20. In circulated condition, where the coin shows wear from being used, the 1947 penny is worth between 3 to 10 cents. With so many produced, these coins don't hold much value in lower grades. Uncirculated condition MS60, MS65. In uncirculated pennies, which show no signs of wear, can be worth $2 to $5 for coins in lower mint state grades and $10 to $20 for higher mint state examples. If you're lucky enough to have a 1947 penny graded MS66 or higher, the value can jump significantly. For example, an MS66 can fetch anywhere from $40 to $100, while an MS67 could go for $200 or more. The highest recorded price for a 1947 penny was $2, $115 for a 1947 D penny in MS67 red condition. Another exciting aspect of coin collecting is finding error coins. These minting mistakes can make a 1947 penny far more valuable. Here are some key errors to look out for. Double die versus DDO. A double die error happens when the die strikes the coin more than once, causing doubling on the design. Check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, or lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust. A good double die penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to $150 or more. Off-center strike. Off-center strikes occur when the coin is struck off the center, leaving part of the design cut off. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. Off-center 1947 pennies can be worth $20 to $100 depending on the degree of the error. If you have a 1947 D or 1947 S penny, look closely at the mint mark for repunching, where the mint mark was struck more than once. Repunched mint marks can fetch anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the clarity of the error. 1944 wheat penny. But today we're zooming in on one specific year, 1944. Why? Because the 1944 wheat penny is both common and, in some cases, incredibly valuable. Let's explore why. 1944 was a pivotal year during World War II. The U.S. Mint was busy, not only producing coins for circulation, but also adjusting to wartime restrictions. During 1943, pennies were made out of steel due to the copper shortage, which was needed for the war effort. However, in 1944, the mint returned to using copper well sort OF. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, recycled primarily from spent shell casings from the war. Over 1.4 billion pennies were minted that year across 3 mints. Philadelphia, no mint mark. Denver D mint mark, and San Francisco S mint mark. Most 1944 pennies you come across are very common, but there are rare variations in errors that make this penny extremely valuable. Let's talk about error coins. Some of the most valuable 1944 pennies have unusual errors, like being mistakenly minted on steel planchets left over from 1943. Only a few of these 1944 steel pennies are known to exist, making them some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. One sold for over $373,000 at auction. Another error to look out for is the 1944 D over S mint mark, where a Denver penny has an underlying San Francisco mint mark. This variety can also be worth significantly more than a regular 1944 D penny. As with most coins, the condition or grade of your 1944 penny plays a huge role in determining its value. Pennies in circulated condition are usually worth around 3 to 10 cents each. But those in mint state or uncirculated condition can fetch up to $10 to $25 or more. If you're lucky enough to have a 1944 steel penny or one of the rare error coins in high grade, we're talking thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So check your pennies carefully. So how do you know if you've got a valuable 1944 penny? Here are some tips. Look at the mint mark. Is it from Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D, or San Francisco S? Check the weight. A normal 1944 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. If it's closer to 2.7 grams, you might have a rare steel penny. Inspect for errors. Check for double dies, repunched mint marks, or unusual plancha errors like the famous 1944 D over S. So what is your 1944 penny worth today? For most, as we mentioned, it's worth just a few cents in circulated condition, but here's a quick breakdown. Common 1944 pennies, 3 to 10 cents. The uncirculated mint state, $10 to $25. Rare error pennies like the 1944 steel penny up to $373,000. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American history. Even if you don't have one of the rare error coins, holding a penny from this significant time period is like holding a little piece of the past. So check your pocket change and those old jars of coins. You never know what treasures you might find. 1936 wheat penny. The Lincoln wheat penny, often called the Wheatie, was minted from 1909 to 1958 and is an iconic piece of American coinage. But what makes the 1936 penny stand out? Well, let's start with its history. 1936 was an interesting year for the United States. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and Franklin D. Roosevelt was well into his presidency, implementing New Deal policies to help stabilize the economy. Coins from this period carry a lot of historical weight, as they were exchanged during a time of great financial struggle for many Americans. This penny features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, on the obverse front side. On the reverse, you'll see the iconic wheat stalk symbolizing prosperity, which is why it's often referred to as the wheat penny. Mintage and varieties. No, the 1936 penny comes in 3 varieties based on where it was minted. No mint mark, Philadelphia mint. D mint mark, Denver mint. S mint mark, San Francisco mint. Philadelphia mint, 309,632,000 minted. Denver mint, 40,620,000 minted. San Francisco mint, 29,130,000 minted. As you can see, the Philadelphia mint produced the most pennies that year, while Denver and San Francisco mints made fewer, making the D and S mint mark pennies more scarce. But rarity isn't the only thing that affects a coin's value. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny is the double die obverse DDO variety. This error happens during the minting process when the design is imprinted twice on the coin, resulting in a visible doubling effect on Lincoln's portrait and the date. Collectors love error coins, and this particular variety can command a premium price. Double die varieties from 1936 are highly sought after. Depending on the condition, a 1936 DDO penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s. Like any collectible coin, the condition of the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny plays a big role in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with higher grades obviously being worth more. For example, a 1936 penny in good condition might only be worth a few cents to $1, but a well-preserved, uncirculated example could sell for $10 or more. And of course, if you've got a double die variety, that value skyrockets. The 1945 wheat penny. 1945 was an important year for the United States. The country was emerging from the horrors of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was churning out coins as part of the nation's recovery efforts. The 1945 penny was an everyday part of people's lives, used to buy bread, milk, and other essentials in a world that was quickly changing. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is the same classic design created by Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse, On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing abundance and growth, a fitting symbol for the time. Now, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in large quantities at 3 different mints. Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D Mint Mark, San Francisco S Mint Mark, Philadelphia Mint 1,040,515,000 minted, Denver Mint 266,268,000 minted, San Francisco Mint 181,770,000 minted. As you can see, over 1 billion pennies were produced in 1945 at the Philadelphia Mint alone, making it one of the most common wheat pennies. However, the Denver and San Francisco Mint pennies are slightly scarcer, particularly in higher grades, material composition and metal shortages. One of the interesting things about the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny is its material composition. Like most pennies before and after, it was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. During World War II, however, copper was needed for the war effort, which is why 1943 pennies were made from steel. By 1945, the U.S. had returned to using copper for pennies. The return to copper signaled that America was beginning to recover from the material shortages of the war. So, holding a 1945 penny is like holding a small piece of history from that era. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition or grade of a coin is one of the most important factors that determine its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70, with uncirculated coins being the most valuable. For example, a heavily circulated 1945 penny might only be worth its face value, while an uncirculated, well-preserved penny can fetch $5 to $10, sometimes more. The key is to look at the coin's luster, the sharpness of the details, and the amount of wear. So how much is a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today? Let's break it down. A Philadelphia minted penny in average circulated condition is usually worth about 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can go for $1 to $5. A Denver minted 1945 penny in circulated condition is worth 5 to 15 cents, and uncirculated examples can reach $5 to $10 or more. The San Francisco minted 1945 penny, being slightly less common, might be valued at 10 to 20 cents in circulated condition and $5 to $15 in uncirculated condition. 1952 D Wheat Penny. The 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in Denver, identified by the small D mint mark below the year on the obverse. That year, Denver produced over 746 million Lincoln cents, making the 1952 D one of the more common wheat pennies in circulation. While it's not the rarest of the series, certain factors can still make it valuable to collectors. Like all coins, the value of a 1952 D wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Let's break it down. Poor to good G4 heavyware, but date and mint mark are still readable, value around 3 to 10 cents. Fine F12 moderate wear but with clear details, value 10 to 20 cents. Very fine VF20 slight wear with all major elements sharp, value 20 to 50 cents. Extremely fine EF40 very light wear on the highest points, value 50 cents to $1. About uncirculated AU50 very minimal signs of wear, value $1 to $2. Mint state Mississippi 60 to MS65 no wear with full mint luster. These can be worth anywhere from $3 to $30 or more, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. But wait, there's more. Some 1952 D wheat pennies have errors that make them even more valuable. Look for double die errors. These are rare but can fetch a premium if found. Off-center strikes, depending on the extent of the error. These can be worth anywhere from $10 to $100. Repunched mint mark RPM. If the D appears to have been struck more than once, this variety could be worth $5 to $50 depending on the grade. So why should you add the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny to your collection? Not only does it represent a piece of American history from the early 1950s, but it's also relatively affordable for new collectors. Whether you're interested in common examples or hunting for rare air coins, the 1952 D has something for everyone. Curious about the current market? While common 1952 D pennies in circulated condition usually sell for a few cents, high-grade examples have been selling for $20 to $30 on average. Error coins or rare varieties could command much more depending on demand. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a fun and affordable addition to your collection. Keep an eye out for high-grade coins or those rare errors. You never know what treasures you might find. 1937 Wheat Penny. The year 1937 was significant in U.S. history. It was the height of the Great Depression, and Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs were in full swing trying to revive the economy. The penny was used by many Americans as a necessity for daily transactions, but for collectors today, it's a treasure worth exploring. Now let's talk mint marks. In 1937, the Lincoln wheat penny was struck in 3 major locations. Philadelphia no mint mark, the most common of the 1937 pennies. Denver D mint mark, identified by the small d below the date. San Francisco S mint mark. The S indicates the penny was minted in San Francisco and tends to be more sought after by collectors. The Philadelphia Mint produced a whopping 309 million pennies that year, while Denver minted just over 50 million, and San Francisco came in at just over 34 million. The design of the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny remains a classic. On the obverse, you'll see a bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor D. Brenner. Below Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice the date 1937 and potentially a mint mark, as we just mentioned. On the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks flank the words 1 cent along with United States of America above that, the phrase e pluribus unum, which means out of many one. This simple yet timeless design remained on pennies until 1958, when the wheat stalks were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. As with any collectible coin, the value of your 1937 Lincoln wheat penny will largely depend on its condition. Pennies are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Most pennies found in circulation today will fall between good G4 and very fine VF30. But if you're lucky enough to have one in uncirculated or mint state condition, you could be holding on to something much more valuable. A higher grade coin will have sharp details, no major wear, and a nice even tone to the metal. Now let's get to the question on everyone's mind: how much is a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny worth? Here's a quick breakdown. Low-grade examples, good to very fine condition. These are quite common given the high mintage numbers and are typically worth between 10 cents and $1. Higher grades, extremely fine to about uncirculated, these pennies can be worth around $3 to $10. Uncirculated or mint state condition, here's where the real value comes in. These pennies can range from $25 to $50 and even higher if graded at MS65 or above. Some rare cases have sold for over $100 at auction. For pennies minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark, the value can be slightly higher due to their lower mintage. 1951 wheat penny. Now, the 1951 Lincoln penny has a few interesting things to note regarding its mintage and value. It was produced in 2 primary varieties, the 51 Philadelphia Mint, which has no mint mark, and the 51D from the Denver Mint, marked with a D. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 120 million 1951 pennies, while the Denver Mint produced just under 24 million. This difference in mintage contributes to their value today. When it comes to determining the value of your 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, the condition is crucial. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better quality. Here are the key grades to consider. Good G, these coins show heavy wear, but are still recognizable. Value around 2 cents. Fine F, moderate wear with some details visible. Value about 10 to 15 cents. Very fine VF, light wear with most details still clear. Value 25 to 50 cents. Uncirculated MS60, no wear, and they look as good as they did the day they were minted. Value $1 to $5 depending on the market. The market value of the 1951 Lincoln penny can fluctuate based on factors such as collector demand and overall market trends. In 2023, prices range from just a few cents for heavily worn coins to upwards of $5 for high-grade, uncirculated examples. If you're interested in collecting these coins, here are some tips. Check your change. You never know what you might find in your pocket or coin jar. Visit local coin shops or shows. Talking to collectors can provide valuable insights. Join online communities. Forums and social media groups can be great places to learn more and share your finds. 1920 wheat penny. Minting locations. The 1920 penny was minted in 2 locations, Philadelphia and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 192 million coins, while the San Francisco Mint produced around 2 million. Design changes. The design remained the same as the previous years, but the 1920 coin saw variations in its quality and finishing due to changes in the minting process during the 1920s. When it comes to value, the 1920 Lincoln wheat penny can vary significantly depending on its condition. Good condition G, a penny in good condition typically sells for about $0.10 to $0.25. Fine condition F, in fine condition, you can expect to pay around $0.50 to $1. Very fine condition VF coins in very fine condition are worth about $2 to $5. Uncirculated condition MS uncirculated coins can fetch anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the mint mark and specific attributes. Additionally, there are some rarer varieties and errors like the 1920S over mint mark, which can be worth significantly more, sometimes thousands of dollars. If you're looking to add a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny to your collection, here are a few tips. Condition is key. Always check the coin's condition. Grading is essential in determining value. Look for mint marks. Make sure to check for mint marks, which are located on the reverse under the 1 cent inscription. Buy from reputable sources. Always purchase coins from trusted dealers or auctions to ensure authenticity. The year 1920 was significant in American history. It was a time of change marked by the end of World War I and the beginning of the Roaring '20s, a decade characterized by economic prosperity, cultural change, and technological advancement. The 1920 Lincoln wheat penny, a reflection of its time, carries a piece of that history with it.